nowadays. You're not allowed to have your phone inside of that room. The guy pleaded guilty, and then we got to go home. So it was very nice. So I'm glad you also had a pretty good experience.
Yeah, I mean, I was still waiting around like an hour and a half for just for them to tell me like, oh, no, you're good, you can go home.
Yeah, exactly. That's just
because you're in the media and they don't want you to talk about it on what's going on in the air. It's
true.
Probably you could be found a lot easier too. I think I was kind of listening because I was kind of like barely awake too, but Scott was talking about that earlier, because he kind of, I think that happened to him too, being a TV person. So it's kind of like they kind of just say, oh yeah, you work in the media, now go ahead and get out. So,
dude,
never know, the guy could be listening in. That you could have been like, oh, he's guilty.
Yeah,
hey, it's one of those cheat codes to life, man. If you want to just forever get out of jury duty, get a job in the media.
If that's the one thing that you're worried about all the time, just like get me.
I just want to go through the whole process because I haven't gotten the letter, so I don't I don't know. Like I mean, I get it. Just walk up and say, hey, fill out this crap, and then you're gonna listen to this verdict or whatever. Or they're gonna tell you whatever the verdict or all the evidence or whatever, lay it out in front of you, but. I don't know. I wanted to get through it anyway. Like, I'll wear a disguise. Like, I won't even say that I work for 97.7. I'll just wear a mustache. That's it. Like,
so Chad's on the opposite spectrum of where he wants to go to.
I want to go to. Because the thing is like if I was Bandy, I would not have responded the rest of the day to you guys. Like, I probably would have gone home. I even told Bandy yesterday when he called me and asked me about it again. Because the boys this morning were kind of like they thought you were a little late on telling them what was going on a little bit, but they were kind of like both like because you kind of didn't tell them until yesterday. I guess they both didn't know.
No, I told them like 2 weeks.
I know, but it's okay. But it was like they kind of were confused by it, and so. I just want to I would have just been like, if I was Bandy, I wouldn't have even shown up. I wouldn't even came back.
No.
To be honest with
I would
you.
have just said something. But I mean,
we'll be back.
Now that I know, though, that I could use my workplace as a way out, I'm going to use that every single time because for whatever reason, again, jury duty comes after me quite a bit. All right, this is like the third time it's happened to me, and thankfully I was able to, kind of get out. But also thankfully that most of those days just kind of go away. But I think, guys, it's time to turn our attention to this USFL stuff that's going down because we have almost like I would say an exact replica of what happened over in the XFL when it came to their playoffs going on into their championship game. And it leads me to say the question, is there even a chance for, either the Pittsburgh Maulers to win this thing? Because it's like a 4-6 team. Obviously, they're 5-6 now. But the way that they played up against this other 4-6 team in the Michigan Panthers, it didn't look like a game that is going to lead to really that much success whenever you're going up against a team called the Birmingham Stallions, reigning champions, that also just beat the second best team in this league, 47-22. And forget about some of those points that this New Orleans Breakers team threw up on the board at the last second, because this game was out of the water way, way before that they were putting up any other points. So it just looks a little bit better. But looking at this Birmingham Stallions team, it's almost like they're like in a league of their own. Really are.
So what you're telling me is this is the Birmingham Stallions game to lose.
I really do think so, and I think this also goes back to when we were talking to I believe it was RJ White about from Sportsline.com about how you look at these teams and the way that they play against each other throughout the season, and the DC Defenders over in the XFL, they were that team. They were a very powerful team. They were going through the entire thing. The thing that is different in this whole situation is looking at the DC Defenders and then looking at the Birmingham Stallions. I honestly think that the Birmingham Stallions would beat the DC Defenders because the DC Defenders had a flaw. They had a kryptonite, and their kryptonite was their defense. Whereas the Birmingham Stallions, it doesn't look like this team has a kryptonite at all. They're just going through these teams like nothing, and they're going to be able to go up against this Pittsburgh Maulers team and find the same success, if not more. And I don't know if it'll lead to the best results, especially not with fans showing up, because for whatever reason, and I know Thom brought this up as well, this game's got to be in Canton, Ohio. And you're going to get more Pittsburgh Maulers fans there, even though they don't want to go to Ohio either, because you know that Pittsburgh fans don't like Ohio at all, okay? And now you get to see this game go down where, yeah, Pittsburgh is going to have the upper hand because there's going to be possibly more fans there. I don't know how well the Stallions will travel. But you got to also look at this where it's just like, well, now the Birmingham Stallions are going to absolutely decimate the Maulers. pretty much at a home location for this Pittsburgh team. So I just don't see it really coming close, especially not compared to the XFL, where we did get to see my team, the Arlington, what were they called?
The Renegades?
The Renegades.
I mean, they're your team.
I forget about them, okay? I forget about that stuff
happens.
whenever it's over. But, no, I mean, when you look at that, it was, you could see that there was a possibility that a victory would win. And now we're looking, and, you know, people have said that the Pittsburgh Maulers could possibly get the upper hand on the Stallions. But I honestly, after those games went down, I just don't see it. Because Memphis even put the Maulers in their place numerous times. And at sometimes, I thought the Panthers were going to just totally win that game. So, I mean, if they can't beat, they can barely beat another 4-6 team. How in, you know, anybody's chance do they have against, you know, the Birmingham Stallions? I just don't get it. I don't see it happening. And I think, you know, might be a little lackluster of a championship game. Definitely not like last year. But I see the Stallions running away with it, guys. I don't know. What are your guys' opinions on it?
I mean, it just must be pretty awesome to be the South right now, because the South is like dominating when it comes to that league.
Yeah.
Because all the northern teams are below 500, and whether you want to talk about, it's crazy that the first two teams, obviously the best two teams in the league, in the whole league, are the two teams that play in Birmingham. And what Skip Holtz has been able to do as a head coach for the Birmingham Stallions for the last 2 years, to be the USFL head coach of the year this year, and you know, you've got a guy like an Alex Magoo that who is playing. You know, I mean, he's been in the NFL for about he was in the NFL for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, he wasn't amazing, obviously, but he's one of those guys that we're watching right now that is a quality backup or a quality third stringer, scout teamer guy that's going to come in, stay with a team. Like, look at Jordan Tiamu. You know, some other guys in the world that kind of like went through that.
Yeah.
PJ Walker, for instance, too. He got to start a few games. Like, Alex Magoo was thrown into a couple of games too during his NFL career as well, because I mean, he played for like the Seahawks and some other bad teams that like he had to get pressed into action. So, you know, he does have a little bit more experience coming off last year too, being that stud player. You know, I think if you're looking at it though, when you're looking at these two teams, or especially going into this championship game, the Maulers are the best defense. What I was listening to on the broadcast anyway, they're the best defensive team in the USFL. The second best team was the Breakers.
Yeah.
So not only do the Stallions have to go up against their second best defense, now they have to go up against the best defense. So it looks like now we're getting the best offense, obviously, against the best defense. This is kind of what we see every single year when it comes to championship games. I mean, like, literally it's best offense versus best defense, or if not, they're top 5 in both. Yeah. And, you know, and you're going to get obviously we're getting the best. We're technically, with air quotes, getting the best two teams in the USFL. And whether you don't like it or not, it's football. I did look at some of the numbers. I think after this weekend, the TV averages were about 600,000 if you do the whole season as a whole. I think it was like probably a little over something like 400,000, something like that for this weekend. So it wasn't like a great weekend. I'm gonna have to find a little bit more on that. But like, if you look at some of the games, obviously, like even your dad talked about it, where it was like over 900,000 people watching, and that's somewhat close to what, you know, even especially like a daytime, let's say a daytime Saturday game that, like, I mean, what I don't understand is how I can sit here and watch this on local television, but I can't get the College World Series on local television, but I'm going to get two back-to-back WNBA games? I mean, but I can't get the College World Series on, like, Fox or 48 or what, you know, whatever? Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. So it's like, you know what's going to be watched. You know what is out there. Why do you put product out there that, like, people don't want to watch? Like football, for instance, we don't want to watch spring football, but yet it's still football. And, like, if you went to the game, you'd probably be like, oh, this is great. This is a great game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if you're at home, like, it's like golf. It's kind of like where you're kind of like going to watch it for a little bit, but then you're going to come back only at the end, or you're going to come back at the last day or whatever. You know what I mean? That's kind of what this football does for me.
There were like maybe 1 or 2 tournaments a year I'm watching like all 4 days.
Now, I watched a good bit of the Maulers game, but not like a whole lot of it, but I did watch all of the Stallions game because I kind of forgot about the Maulers game. But I still even when I got back from the soccer game, because HCFC lost to the Columbus Crew 2, 1-0 yesterday, I got back from that and went and watched the rest of the Stallions game. So, I mean, that was kind of where, you know, I was at with that. So,
And I think with the USFL, I mean, you see those ratings, and a lot of people are kind of forced to watch these games, which I don't want to say that they're being forced to watch the USFL. I just think the one thing that's a problem with this league, and I don't think there's a lot of problems with it because I kind of like it just as much as I like the XFL. I think evenly they're both very entertaining to watch, But I think the problem with it is, I mean, again, there's not enough places where you can watch them live. If your team is playing in your town, I mean, Birmingham obviously can watch it live. Some of the Ohio teams can watch it live. But you look at this league and you see the ratings and all that stuff. The only team that's really getting those 600,000, to 700, maybe even more viewership is those South teams. A lot of those South teams are the ones that are getting that. And it shows because, I mean, these teams are pretty elite. I mean, within this league, I just think if these leagues want to continue to work out, which I don't think they're, struggling in any way right now, I think that they're going to need to either move to the same time of the season and then possibly have some, interchangeable game at the end of the season. It'd be sick to see the USFL go up against the XFL champions and stuff like that. But I think that it gets to a point where, I mean, you guys know that this USFL season has flown by because we haven't really been watching it.
It really has.
But we also watched the XFL and we got enticed into that and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at some of these viewers. This is week 1 through week 10. So last week in week 10, the average viewership was 438,000. The average viewership over that 10-week span was 600,000. The biggest game from that weekend was the Philadelphia Stars and the Michigan Panthers. So the two northern teams had 720,000 people watching them. The New Orleans Breakers and the Gamblers had 167,000 people watching them, average. And then the Birmingham Stallions and Memphis Showboats, which is Memphis is the north team. 636,000 viewers. And then the top team, the Maulers and the Generals, only got 242. So I don't know. Still haven't seen the playoffs yet. Yeah. But, I'm sure that a lot of people ended up watching those two games because they were kind of standalone games in itself and everybody kind of knew that the playoffs was coming. Yeah. But yeah, I think what I don't understand is when we sit here and talk about we watch certain types of sports, we can't watch USFL, we can't watch XFL with these guys. Jay Sternberger, the tight end for the Birmingham Stallions, played for the Green Bay Packers, got drafted by the Green Bay Packers, okay? These are guys that, if you know football, you know some of these guys, right? So, Mark Thompson, for instance, he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns for Houston with 14, right? 14 touchdowns in 10 games, okay? Or 10 weeks, okay? Whatever. But literally has 14 touchdowns in 10 weeks. I mean, what if he was playing a regular 16, 17-game season? You know what I mean? He'd have 20-something touchdowns, and he'd still be even better. He'd be the best running back in the league. But Mark Thompson, former Florida running back, was in the pros, playing for Washington and the terrible Commanders. But I think they were actually still the Redskins at the time when he was still playing. Yeah. So, some of these, like Alex Magoo, these guys. Yeah. I never understand that. If you can love fantasy, and if people can do fantasy and love a player, a certain player, you should be able to love certain players that are in the USFL and the XFL that are trying to make a jump back into the league, Yeah,
and I think that's honestly the main appeal of these teams is it's not. I met some people this weekend, and that's also where I got this awesome Cleveland Browns throwback. I met these people and I was talking to them about hey, do you guys have any favorite teams and stuff like that? And they were like, we're more focused on the player side of things. And I like that side of it because it's you can enjoy every single football game and you can just really focus on the players and their stories. You get a lot more of those storylines when you're following just the players individually instead of the teams altogether. You know what I'm saying? It's just you see a guy, come up from, college, maybe the smaller leagues. It's the Tom Brady effect, really. Yeah. Okay, you see the guy fight back through adversity and be the best quarterback in all of the NFL. I mean, those are the things that you love. Even though you might not like him at the same time, or you might hate the Patriots, which I didn't like the Patriots too much, I still enjoyed Tom Brady. I thought he did a great job throughout his career, and it was enjoyable to follow his career instead of following just the Patriots, even though that was also pretty enjoyable because, the Super Bowls that came with him. It's just nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, heck, Bo Scarborough's on the Stallions right now.
You know what? And that's the crazy thing. We forget about that stuff because we see some of these guys that had big names back in college football, and even in the XFL, we see Philip Lindsay go on to Seattle. And what does he do? I mean, this guy he was a big-time running back in the NFL. He had over 1,000 yards in the last season he was playing. And he doesn't really do much of anything over in the XFL, and I don't know if you can, contribute that to maybe a different style of football because it's, at the base of everything, it's still the same football that these guys play. It's just weird to see that if you're going into a different league, it sometimes doesn't mean that you're going to have just as much success or even more than you did in the NFL.
Yeah. I feel like the more and more we just talk about this and just stuff like this,
yeah,
I just like the idea of relegation in football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the USFL, the XFL, and the NFL all kind of coming together, and you don't take the teams themselves, just the players.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's it's a great idea, and I mean maybe one day it'll get to the point where possibly a team will get put up to the NFL level. If they want an expansion and it's in an area that not a lot of people are like thinking about, it's like, hey, bring this team up, do kind of what MLB has done in the past with like AAA teams. I don't think that's going to come anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I like the way that it is just focused on the players. Everybody's working together. And it's not like those leagues in the past where it's just like, oh, we're trying to compete. We're trying to make a full-fledged football league right beside the NFL. And nobody's going to watch it because it's to the point where it's like none of these guys are probably going to go to the NFL. It's just more football for you guys to watch and kind of force in your face. So at the end of the day, we're all just waiting for the AFL to come back. I think we can all agree to that one. I cannot wait. I also just got the Arena football game for the PlayStation 2. I've had a lot of fun with it. Only played one game. Honestly,
it's not a bad game. It's just it was like obviously the graphics at that time were like it was like Xbox, Xbox 360 graphics. So it was like decent, but it was still a fun game because it was not. It kind of felt like Blitz in a way a little bit because you could get hit over the walls and stuff, and you could get hit
constantly.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
I actually went back and played NCAA 06 on the PlayStation.
Oh, the
2.
Reggie Bush on it.
Yep, and I actually noticed they put so much more heart and effort into those past games than they do now.
Well,
into the football games now.
Yeah, and I think once they started getting into the like the whatever it was, the spotlight or whatever the heck they called it or whatever, where you were like the Heisman run or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's when obviously it was just getting worse, but it was also like how do you have games like NFL 2K that was like ahead of its time, had all the great features, had all the great tackling and everything like that, and actual tackling. And we're still at the point that we're at in Madden where it's like glitchy stuff like that we don't want to see,
Yeah.
I was going to say the A word, you know what I mean? It was like we were going to glitchy type stuff that just wasn't fun.
We're never going to get away from the just only talking about games accusation from Thom.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
We're never going to get away from that.
No, we got we got to throw it in. It's that's Bandy's character too. It's like we are those 20-something-year-olds, the 30-something-year-olds. We're still a part of that side where the games.
I mean, go look at half of the NFL, the NBA. I wouldn't say half. I'd say like a solid 85% probably. Maybe even more that play video games, and that's what they do in their spare time. And it's like you'd probably walk into a college football room or whatever right now, and their little media room. I guarantee you they're playing something, some video game or something like.
That's how Carl Anthony.
It's the norm now.
That's how Carl Anthony Towns catching flack for it, like right before the playoffs. It's like, oh, we saw him on Call of Duty. It's like, why aren't you practicing for the playoffs? It's like. You expect him to be going 24/7?
It's okay. Remember,
take a break?
It's okay. Remember when Carl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons were playing COD together? I think it was COD, and they were like, "Who you got to play?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's the Hawks." And literally, they played the Hawks like the next night, and they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, jeez. But, I mean, you play those other games. I mean, we've seen in the past as well. I mean, the Chiefs even bonded over some video games to make their team a little bit better in the last season. I mean, they were not the Chiefs that we've seen, and they go on to win the Super Bowl. And some of it does come into effect with, you get to see Juju Smith-Schuster talking about how, the team's gotten together and we're playing a little bit more Call of Duty together, the war zone and stuff like that. It does build, teamwork. You can talk a lot more. It's just all a part of that. But, no, I mean, I do miss. You talk about those 2005, 2006 like games. That's a lot of the games though. That's not just the football games. It's the NASCAR games. It's the 2K what they were doing. I mean, you had your own crib.
Yeah, Tiger Woods PGA Tour during that time too was like one of the best games ever made.
I mean, even if you look at what NASCAR was doing, there were so many things you could do in those games. That was a top tier game. Now you look at the NASCAR today, and it's like, they got all the cars in. That's kind of cool.
You got Forza.
But it's like you were able to drive Vipers back in 2005, and the streets with like Jeff Gordon to your right. It was
Jeff
sick.
Gordon.
I'm serious. That was the type of stuff you were able to be doing back in those 2005 like NASCAR games. And again, I mean, you had the crib in 2K5 NFL football. It was a wonderful time to be alive when it came to gaming.
Well, speaking of gaming, but also I'm sure he's gonna talk a little bit of the Atlanta Braves as well, which you can listen to on our air tonight.
Oh, yeah.
As they're taking on the Minnesota Twins, as actually a former Brave, Sonny Gray, is going to be taking on Spencer Strider tonight. I'm going to be listening to that for sure. I think we have the next 3 games. We're actually going to be out of here, and that's a programming note. I'm doing a Steve right now. It's a programming note on Wednesday in case it rains or whatever in Atlanta. There is going to be the Braves game at 11:20 against the Minnesota Twins, and this is what it sounded like yesterday as the Atlanta Braves were able to squeak by a win and not blow it like usual when it comes to the bullpen, as we like to hear on this air a lot of times, but as they were able to take the series and get the win against the Cincinnati Reds after Ellie De La Cruz had a freaking cycle the first game. And then we had our very own local guy, Graham Ashcraft, take the loss in the second game. But, man, anytime you'd be able to see a local guy get up there and it's not a Brave, man, it's not – it makes me queasy a little bit.
Yeah.
2-2 again. Ground ball to third. Riley to second for 1. Ozzie to first. Braves win! 5-4-3. A game-ending double play. And Atlanta takes the series. What an exciting series in Cincinnati. And the Braves cool down the Reds. Another one-run win. And it's the only double play turn by the Braves in the series. And it punctuates things here in the 9th inning. What a ball game.
What a ball game, and I'm sure we're going to be listening to it tonight. I'm sure Shane's going to be listening to it tonight, possibly watching it as well. But, Shane, welcome to the Thom Abraham Show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, fellas, and thank you for throwing that in there because, I love our Braves, brother. But yeah, man, I don't miss them. I watch them every night, on Bally's, unless they're on ESPN, which I can't stand because the commentating is much different from, what I want to hear.
You get your Carl Ravishes of the world.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're all right, but I'm partial to our local guys. But anyhow, yeah, man, just real quick on the video game thing. Yeah, I'm 40 years old, man, and I remember back when I got PlayStation 1 for the first time. I had NASCAR '99. I had the good college football games were coming out back then, and it just went away from, like you guys were saying, from they're just not as good because you can't control as much, and it's just more of, you throw it to the guy, you hit a button, and he catches the ball. Or you hit another button, and he makes a fancy catch. And that, to me, it takes the technicality out of the game when it comes to video games, especially sports games, because all I've ever played was sports games and shooters.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of died for me. And I've tried to buy systems, throughout the years. I got a PlayStation 2, ended up getting rid of it. It collected dust. PlayStation 3 collected dust. 4 collected. After the 4, my wife is like, you know what? No more blowing money on consoles and them collecting dust and being, shelf ornaments. You can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, though. I mean, those games in the past, they did have a lot more heart. They were for the fans that wanted to really just put everything into it. And nowadays you look at the games and it's just like they're for the consumer. They're made every single year. It seems like they come out a lot faster than they did back in the 2000s.
Right. I completely agree. And but just I'm picking up my daughter right now. But real quick, to move along to the Braves, man. Hey, man, I couldn't agree with the guys more. If you guys were watching the game on television yesterday, they were like, have the plane gassed up, started up, and ready to go. These guys are ready to get on the plane and head back to Atlanta. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I watch every game, and if I miss a game, there's something catastrophic going on in my life, and that's legit truth. My wife can attest to that. But I'm telling you right now, that was the most up and down emotional series that I have watched all year. And if we can't get our pitching, we need to get our guys back, first of all. We need to get Kyle Wright back. We need to get Max Free back. And, our bullpen's been up and down, but more up than down. But if we pitch the way we have over the past month and a half, 2 months, we are going to struggle in the playoffs. That's just what I believe. But I have full faith in our bullpen because the talent is there. The guy's stuff is there. And we get our starters back, and if they come back anything close to what they were before they left, I'm telling you right now, guys, I really don't see any team. It'll be the Rays and the Braves in the World Series. That's my thought.
I I mean,
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, when you got 6 guys that are, I'm sorry, Bandy, go ahead.
no,
Bandy,
no,
you want to
it's
talk
all
about?
you. It's
I
all
was just
you.
saying, if you got 6 guys that are going to be maybe possibly 6 starters that could be all-star starters, and you got guys that like Orlando Arcia that's playing out of his mind after he broke his wrist. The offense, the way it's humming. If Sean Murphy can stay healthy the entire season, I mean, if Travis Darno doesn't have a concussion, types of things like that where the Braves were able to still get wins and still be able to put out this kind of thing where they just throw out whatever starter from AAA that comes out from Gwinnett or even Rome, and they're an instant stud, or they're good enough to give you 5-6 innings, and they're going to give you 2 or 3 runs because this is the norm we're seeing nowadays. You can throw look at Adam Wainwright. I get it was the London series, but Adam Wainwright got absolutely clobbered by the Cubs. And it's like when you go thinking you're going to throw out your ace, I mean, Kyle Wright could come back tomorrow and he could give up 4 runs. And then what are we going to say? Oh, well, Kyle Wright probably should have waited a little bit longer. Or Kyle Wright probably shouldn't have been out there. You know what I mean? Mike Soroka might come back this week. All right? So if Mike Soroka's out there throwing, I mean, what's the point of, just throwing A.J. Smith-Shawver out there and seeing what's wrong with it? I mean, they keep bringing back Jared Schuster. The Dylan Dodd keeps getting chances. So if you do look at it, the starters, it seems like you can get by with it right now because of how well the offense is playing. But if it comes down to the bullpen and everything like that, yeah, you need a Matzik coming back. You need A.J. Minter not to choke on his own sauce. You just need Raciel Iglesias to pitch better. Joe Jimenez. I mean, it's just those types of players that when you went out after these types of players, you demand and you want to see them play well.
Exactly. And Chad, if I can throw one more thing in before I go, with Schuster and Dodd, I believe that those kids, man, I think they have the stuff, they have the ability to stay there. I don't think AJ Smith-Shawver is ready yet. I really don't. But with those other 2 guys, I think they have it. I think we just need to give them a chance. Because right now, I mean, we have a little bit of room. I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to the game Friday in Atlanta to watch the Marlins and the Braves. I feel like at the end of the season, the Marlins will be the Marlins because I just don't think they're good enough to sustain what they have. I mean, because if you look at the roster from top to bottom, I mean, it's very surprising to see where they're at now because they're just not as good as what the record says they are. But I know they always say you are what your record says. But with the Marlins, I don't really think so.
No, totally agree with you. I mean, and especially the way that we obviously can kind of tell how the NL East does it every single year. It's always the Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets. I mean, other than 2016 with the Nationals, I mean, it's literally been the Braves, the Mets, or the Phillies. I mean, we in our mind, I think ever since the Marlins may have won the World Series, we don't count the Marlins or the Nationals every single year. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. But I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for being on. Anything else?
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, man. Yeah, sorry, we got to get to break. No, go ahead, man. We got to get to break.
I know, just saying. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, we got to get to Jacob Rudner. Does a great job handling some Florida Gator coverage. Works for 24/7 Sports, and we'll get to him on the other side as we talk some College World Series right here on the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
No one knows your Ford better than our factory-trained, certified technicians, and that's a fact. Hi, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, letting you know about a one-time service promotion good through June 30th only. Starting at just $79.95 when you get the Works package for your vehicle. You buy the first one, the second one is on us. The Works package includes a synthetic blend oil change, tire rotation, vehicle checkup, and more. You buy the first one, the next one is on us, but only through June 30th. Schedule online today and come in to Woody Anderson Ford.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday. Highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
With spring games done, next up is SEC Media Days. We got you covered.
This is when you need it, in this situation right here.
On your only full-time sports talk radio station, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Tom Abraham Show. It's Chad Gwathney, Coach Grizz, Captain Cool, John Abraham, and the bandy man, Bailey Lowry.
Hey.
As we get ready for some College World Series final tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Game 3.
Looking forward to it.
And what better way to have a guy on in Jacob Rudner. Does a great job with 24/7 Sports. And we have him on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline right now. Thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Good, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah. And I bet you're probably feeling a little happy after yesterday's insane wallop. I mean, I just need to ask the question, okay? I mean, what surprised you more? LSU winning the first game or Florida dropping 24 in game 2?
I would say it's definitely Florida dropping 24 in Game 2. I had a feeling that these games would be competitive, and that LSU had the potential to take a game, and so I would say that dropping a record-breaking run total was certainly more surprising.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't doubt that. I mean, I just want to go on and continue with that, too. Like, after what we witnessed, I mean, if betting was on your mind going into Game 3, I mean, like, how would you even start to approach it? Because in the first game, you get a highly competitive matchup. It looks really good. Both teams doing great stuff on defense. And then in the next one, it almost looked like, well, it did look like LSU just totally gave up probably less than halfway through that game when Florida just started dropping those points on the board. But I mean, where would you even start when it comes to betting? Would you look at the pitching? Would you look at what would you go for in this one?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's really challenging heading into this game in particular for a couple reasons. First, we don't know who LSU is throwing in this game. We don't know a starter. The game is a couple hours away. It's still unknown. It could be Paul Skeens, who's one of the best pitchers at the college level that we've seen, maybe since Steven Strasburg, over a decade ago at San Diego State. But it might not be. And if it's not Paul Skeens, we don't really know at all which of their relievers they're going to put in a position to have to start the game. So that's a factor. Florida is obviously red hot offensively. 24 runs is no joke. They break the runs record. They break the hits record yesterday. Is that something that they can carry into today? And can Jack Caglione use the momentum he generated by breaking the BB Core era home run record yesterday with 2 home runs in that game and parlay that into success on the mound in Game 3? For me, I would give the Gators just a slight edge because of that momentum generated yesterday, and really because I don't know if Skeens is going to throw, but I would say it's Gators by just a hair, if not perfectly even, heading into this game.
How much of a difference would it make in this matchup compared if Skeens does throw compared to if he doesn't?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we're talking about one of the best pitchers that we've seen in recent history at the college level, if not ever. I mean, this is a guy with over 200 strikeouts in the season. He doesn't walk anybody. He is dominant even on short rest. He's a difference maker for that team, and I think that if they can get a couple innings out of him or even an inning at all, it could absolutely change the course of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about his rest and how he's able to kind of get back into the game quick, but I mean, 120 pitches just the other day against Wake Forest, and then coming in again and having to really show out for a majority of this game if he does get the start, if he does come in at all. I mean, how much of that rest do you think he actually needs to be at his top position going up against Florida Gators team that, is really hot right now on the offense?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say just because we haven't seen Skeens pitch on what would be now 3 days rest. This is hardly any rest at all for somebody of his caliber and workload. He's thrown over 240 pitches in the last 9 days. Like you said, 120 just a couple days ago. And so I would say that it's kind of a mystery heading into this matchup. But again, this is a guy who has pinpoint control, a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. He can pitch deep into games because he has the stamina to do so, and it hasn't really seemingly affected him as he gets deeper into ball games, which would lead me to believe that if there is a controlled, shorter appearance for him today, he would do just fine. I mean, this is a guy who is truly dominant. We haven't really seen stuff like this before, and so I would be very confident if I were an LSU fan and I saw that guy walk out there.
And just talk about Jack Caglione because, I mean, he's definitely an interesting player. I mean, just talk about his abilities that he's really brought to this Gators team this season, both on offense and on defense.
Yeah, it's a historic campaign. I mean, a guy who is now the BB Core era since 2011, home run king, 33 home runs this season. He leads the team in ERA. He leads the team in batting average against. And so you're looking at a guy who has arguably been the team's best pitcher and best hitter. There are not many college teams at any level that can say that they have a guy who meets those boxes, who checks those categories. But he does, and he's doing it in the SEC at the highest level. He's carried his team to a national championship, and kind of poetically, the season will come down to him in a way. He now has an opportunity to win the whole thing for the Gators with a great starting performance or with his bat once again, and I think that that's kind of a fitting way for this team to either live or die, if you will.
Jacob Rudner from Swamp at 24/7 Sports. And, I mean, looking at another player that was arguably the MVP of Game 2, I'm looking at Wyatt Langford. I mean, this kid was absolutely on fire yesterday. I mean, just kind of talk about him and what he brings to the table and what we should expect out of him tonight.
just a super professional hitter, really calm at the plate, really confident in his approach, and very successful within that. This is a guy who is a surefire top 3 pick in the upcoming MLB draft. He played like that yesterday. 5 hits, reached base a 6th time. And it's not really the first time that we've seen him put on a spectacular performance and kind of fly under the radar for it. You know, Jack Caglione breaks the home run record, and suddenly Wyatt Langford's 5 for 5, kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit. But this is a guy now for the last 2 years who has been absolutely critical for Florida. And he proves it pretty much day in and day out with his consistent play. A key part of the lineup as well, and you know, somebody who really, without his presence, I'm not sure Florida gets as far as it does.
And then Kevin O'Sullivan, I mean, this guy accounts for the only national title in the program's history. I mean, how big would this be for not only his legacy, but for Gainesville as a whole?
Huge for Gainesville, of course. I mean, Florida fans are as passionate as they come, and of course, success is something that motivates them. Any national championship is a big deal, as you guys know, being in Alabama. And this is no different. You know, Florida really cares about baseball. It has a great fan base that cares a whole bunch. And for Kevin O'Sullivan, you know, you'd have to start to probably have that conversation of where he stacks up among all-time coaches. The second title. He's been to Omaha more times than any other head coach since he took the job in 2008. A guy who has demonstrated excellence pretty much at every step of the way and has set his team up next year to be in the same position. They already have a great transfer class. There are some very talented returners coming back in and some top overall draft picks, I think, that will be on next year's team as well. So this is a guy who can take kind of that leap from really, really good maybe to all-time great type status. And I'm not claiming that he's number one ever, but I do think that this would go a long ways into the conversation of, you know, where he might stack up against some of the guys who we revere as the all-time great college baseball coaches.
As I kind of speaking of draft picks a little bit, we have the MLB draft actually coming up here in about 2 weeks, and one name that's actually been climbing pretty high among the mock draft list has been Wyatt Langford. And what kind of impact do you think he could leave? Not leave on a major team. What impact do you think he could give to a Major League Baseball team, and what impact do you think he could have on this upcoming LSU game?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing as what he's doing for Florida right now, he could do for a Major League team. Just a guy who is truly a professional, a great hitter, a sound defender who you're going to be able to play maybe in center field with a little bit more time and practice at that position, but certainly a corner outfield spot. He's going to hit home runs. He's going to hit for average. And all of those things, you know, obviously are a huge propellant for a college team, and I would imagine that a professional team will be very excited to get those qualities as well. But as it relates to today, his best baseball will be required. LSU is no joke. Florida is not the clear favorite in this game or the obviously better team. And so as Florida has kind of lived by, its motto this year is our best players need to be at their best for us to win our games. Yeah. And there's no exception today. So that means Caglione has to pitch well. That means Langford has to hit well. Shortstop Josh Rivera will have to be at his best, and he's been critical. Same with catcher BT Riopel. It should be an exciting game, and Florida will need its stars.
And just talk about how poetic it would be if Florida was able to get the dub tonight against LSU, the same team they were able to get the dub against back in 2017 to win that first national title.
Well, if you're really looking for sports poetry, you shouldn't look any further than Florida's first base coach. His name is Mike Rivera, and he was actually Florida's starting catcher when it beat LSU in 2017.
Wow.
And one of the things that has been a major topic of conversation throughout this postseason is how helpful his presence has been. He's almost been a guide for these players, not just because he's roughly experienced what they're experiencing, but because he's actually experienced exactly what they're experiencing. A run to the national championship against an LSU team that is very well supported here in Omaha. And he has kind of given them the advice necessary to battle the circumstances and the environment and to put them in a position to succeed. And so it would absolutely be poetic. I think that also, you know, these are two teams that have some history. There's a little bit of a rivalry going on here. And so it would be, of course, quite meaningful. But in terms of just that poetic moment in sports, this is not, you know, less than any other before. There's no shortage of cool moments with this team right now.
Jacob Rudner with us, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. I want to ask you one more question. You know, what are your predictions for tonight's game? And then also, do you kind of get a little scared a little bit when it comes to scoring 24 runs in a game where, I mean, go look at what the Angels did to the Rockies in a 3-game set, and they scored 25 runs in one game, and they didn't score more than 7 in the next 2 and lost the series. Are you a little nervous about that when it comes to bats, being alive and everything like that the game before coming into a big, crunch time game?
I think I would be more nervous for Florida if I didn't think it compartmentalized games as well as it does. I mean, you saw them lose a heartbreaker on the first night where it gets robbed in extra innings. Wyatt Langford, almost scores what would have been winning runs. Doesn't happen. They lose in the 11th inning, 4-3. It looks like they might be in big trouble, and then they come out the next day and they drop 24 runs. This is a team that puts success and failure the same kind of behind it in a really strong, mature way. And that's also a testament, to Kevin O'Sullivan and his leadership. And I think that we'll see that today. I don't know that Florida is going to let the high of yesterday's win impact it the same way it didn't let the low of Saturday's loss impact it in yesterday's contest. But again, if I had to predict, I think we're going to see a really close, really competitive game. I have been saying now for weeks that I think Florida is going to win the national championship. And so in sticking with my prediction, I will say that I think Florida comes away with this one, but I really think it's going to be a close, competitive game. And I do believe that this has been one of the better College World Series, maybe ever.
And then the last question, over under 9 runs altogether. What are you thinking about that?
Tough one. I'm gonna go over just because at the moment, as I speak to you guys right now, the wind is blowing out to center. So
we saw that.
I'm gonna bet with the wind. Yeah, no, that was big time yesterday. So I'm gonna bet with the wind again, and we're gonna hit the over one more time.
Great stuff, Jacob. That's all we got for you today. We're looking forward to tonight. Let the people know where they can find you on socials and online.
Yeah, you can find me just on Twitter, Jacob Rudner. My Twitter handle is very easy to find, and over at swamp247.com with 24/7 Sports. And I appreciate you guys having me on and talking baseball for a little bit.
Very nice. Can't wait to talk to you again. Also, hopefully next time we talk, it's going to be in a good light. Let's enjoy this game tonight, man.
There you go. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. Jacob Rudner from 24/7 Sports, Swamp 24/7. We got to hop into a break, but when we come back, we're going to close out this first hour, preview the second, and get more into the fun here on the Thom Abraham Show.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Suffering from emotional pain and mental health conditions, intensive outpatient programs, or IOP is a rich addition to your continued individual therapy. Group members realize they're not alone and that others have similar difficulties. Hearing and sharing different ways to think and cope can be encouraging, empowering, and promote healing. In most cases, treatment is covered by insurance and no doctor referral is needed. Virtual IOP sessions available. Take your first step to wellness by calling 205-999-5247 or log on iopservicesllc.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
The new Cheeseburger Bobby's on Carl T. Jones Drive in South Huntsville is focused on serving great food prepared with the absolute freshest ingredients, featuring classic hamburgers and cheeseburgers with lots of specialty options, chicken and hot dogs, even turkey burgers and veggie burgers, along with fresh cut fries, onion rings, or coleslaw. Always fresh, never frozen, except for the frozen custard. See all the delicious options at Cheeseburger Bobby's for yourself. Check out the menu and more at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday, highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
This is Mike Greenberg. You're listening to 97.7 ESPN The Zone, your home of ESPN Radio, the Alabama Crimson Tide, Atlanta Braves baseball, Huntsville Havoc hockey, and the UAH Chargers.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Thom Abraham Show here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm the Bandyman Bailey Lowry, joined to my right by Captain Cool, John Abraham.
Yo!
And across the glass, keeping us on the air. What's he say, the stacks of waxing?
Yeah. That's it.
Platters of stacks and wax and
Flax
all that
and
all that jazz.
Jaguar.
The platters at
The
Stacks
Grizz.
and Max or something like that.
Yeah, the Grizz. The Grizz.
The
Or,
Grizz.
or what we know
The
him
Grizz.
as, the Chad, over on the Afternoon Blitz from 2 to 4. I'm all like mixed up because it's like my morning schedule is mixed up knowing that I got to come into work a little bit earlier to do the Thom Abraham Show. But, Bandy, we had some news going on in the basketball world.
We got a lot, actually, both pro and college. I mean, Javon Quinterly entering the transfer portal after, what, did he say he was going to stay like a year ago?
Yeah.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Or was that Sears? Either or. I think he said that I'm back.
I think that was
I think I cheered
Quinterly.
that. I think I cheered that when he said he was coming back too.
Yeah. I
Easy
mean,
come, easy go.
for a guy that he really was a part of this team for the longest of times, and honestly, I think he even shocked himself with wanting to leave and go somewhere else. I don't know exactly where his mind is at, but I mean, he still loves Alabama. I mean,
Yeah.
he talked extensively about how amazing the program has been for him and stuff. And now we're gonna see him on a different team, and it's gonna be a little weird because in all of his college career, we have not seen him outside of the crimson and white. So
I mean, he was there when Nate Oates first got to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
He was one of the starting guys in the Nate Oates program. So I mean, it is tough to see him go. But
I mean, yeah, but it's also a guy that's like 25 years old, and
Yeah.
or he's going to be 25 years old. He averaged like 9 points a game in the games that he did play for Villanova. He did have the injury. He did come back. I love it. He graduated, which I'm totally cool for. But, I mean, it's just another player that obviously got a little bit of something, and he was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get it. If he's never going to make the NBA or if he's never going to make a real team, maybe he's going to go to Europe or something. Shoot, go make some money in college. I don't care.
I mean, EuroLeague's paying just as well over there.
Yeah.
As is here. Which, speaking of the NBA, we got a trade going down about 8 minutes ago with the Atlanta Hawks and the Utah Jazz trading John Collins, finally unloading that contract for Rudy Gay. I almost said Rudy Gobert. For Rudy Gay.
I don't want him.
For Rudy Gay and a second-round draft pick.
Ooh, I don't know anything basketball, so I'm just gonna, you guys talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as a Jazz fan, I'm cool with getting John Collins now working around Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
Hopefully, gonna keep Colin Sexton because he is.
I think what
up on the trade talks.
I think what the Hawks did was perfect because they waited to get someone to be dumb enough to take this.
Oh, come on.
Because they took the $78 million that he's owed.
Sheesh.
And so like when you're looking at it and you're like, okay, like good, like as a Hawks fan, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Steve is cheering right now on his way to Atlanta. I'm sure he's like holding up a parade in Atlanta for John Collins. He's probably helping him move right now because if you watch John Collins enough, it's like you're going to get a very athletic, very talented player, but you're going to get a guy that's like he's not all there and he's not a go-getter and he's not, you know what I mean? He had to play better to get this contract that the Hawks gave him. And they're going to give, I think it's a great trade. I think you're getting some very good value out of it. They're going to be able to build off the roster, and they're going to build around Trae Young. So they already drafted really well with Kobe Bufkin, which they didn't give him number 8, which I don't know why, but he's wearing number 4. But, they've got some quality guys in the draft, and then they got some some guys, right now that core guys that they can build around Trae Young.
Yeah, I mean, you get rid of that exuberant contract. I mean, that just gives you even more wiggle room to move around.
It's crazy to think,
any of that.
It's crazy to think, but Atlanta franchises right now are playing smart.
Yeah.
The Braves with AA is doing an amazing job. Terry Fontenot is doing an amazing job when it comes to the cap space and everything that he's been able to do this season and get rid of the Matt Ryan thing from last year with the Falcons. And then you've got what's going on with the Hawks over here and being able to, not pay. Like, if you're going to pay somebody that, pay a LeBron to come to Atlanta that type of money. Don't pay a John Collins that type of money to stay for 3 years. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just crazy.
That was Ben Simmons money.
You're talking crazy. I'm just still kind of wrapping my head around, Rudy Gay getting involved into a huge trade like this at the age of 36.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey. That
man was a beast back in 2014. I'll say that.
Yeah, I remember playing his silver card on 2K16 carried me through bronze.
It'll be like Haslam. He'll just be like that older veteran player that's just, there to, clap.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow.
I mean, and be another coach.
In the finals at 41.
Yeah. Hey. And he stayed with the Heat the entire time. Not many guys can say that they can do that. I mean, most guys maybe make it 6 years and then they're out of the league or they flop to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get. First hour of the Thom Abraham Show here on 97.7. When we come back, guys, we're going to get into a lot more conversations about a lot more college baseball. That's all coming up here on the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Victor Wembanyama will not be playing for his national basketball team at this summer's FIBA Basketball World Cup. Number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft told L'Equipe newspaper he won't be on the court for France in order to protect his still developing body ahead of his rookie NBA season. Wembanyama said he made the choice on his own. He wasn't pressured by the Spurs in any way. On Get Up today, ESPN's Brian Windhorst said Trailblazers star Damian Lillard will be checking in with his closest advisors to consider what his next move will be, if any. On Friday, Portland GM Joe Cronin said he had no intention of trading Lillard, hopes he'll allow some time to work with 3rd overall pick Scoot Henderson and see what moves the Blazers can make in free agency. Lillard said at the end of the regular season he wanted an upgrade of Portland's roster with veterans, not a youth movement. Free agency does begin on Friday.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday. Highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Alabama Crimson Tide to the Atlanta Braves, we are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. Guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Second hour here on the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This is not Thom Abraham, but this is John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the bandy man Bailey Lowry, as well as our amazing producer, the Grizz, a.k.a. Chad Gwathney, a.k.a. The Chad, over on the Afternoon Blitz, which me and Bandy host every single weekday from 2 to 4. It's a great show over there. If you want the energy that we bring every single day, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get this type of stuff times 10 probably, because I like to keep it a little bit more, respectful over here. I don't want to get the fans out of here too much into this mindset we have, but we do have a special guest on for the College World Series. Going to be talking a little bit of LSU. We did get done with our conversation about Florida in the first hour, but now it's time to look at the other side. Time to talk with Brian Lazar and get into some of this stuff. So, Brian, how are you doing today?
Good. How y'all doing this afternoon?
We can't complain too much. Chad, start off the questions.
Yeah, Brian, we just want to get right into it. I mean, obviously, poor outing by the LSU Tigers, but, that's why it's best of 3, and you're able to get one back tonight and hopefully close it out and win the national title. What went wrong last night?
Well, you look at that game, and really the tone was set in the first 3 innings. I thought Hurston Waldrop, the Florida starter, was very ineffective. He couldn't throw the ball over the plate. He just never did seem comfortable out on the mound.
Yeah.
And, LSU scores a run in the first inning off of him, has the bases loaded, and he gets out of that inning with a ground out. And then the next inning, LSU scores 2 more runs, and again has the bases loaded, and he gets out of that inning on a fielder's choice. So LSU stranded 6 runners in the first 2 innings and only had 3 runs, and it was a 3-1 lead after 2 innings. Then Nate Ackenhausen, who threw so well against Tennessee earlier in the tournament, really surprising everyone, in his first start of the year. He was nowhere near as effective on Sunday against Florida. Now, he got out of the first 2 innings only giving up 1 run, but then in the third, he hits a batter, gives up 3 straight hits to the middle of the lineup, and now the game is tied. And it looked like he was going to get out of the inning, because then he got a strikeout, and then he got a potential double play ground ball, which shortstop Jordan Thompson misplayed to keep the inning alive. Jay Johnson then replaced Ackenhausen with Gavin Guidry. Gavin Guidry gets a strikeout, so if there's no error, the inning's over there with a 3-3 tie. And then the next hitter for Florida, wind-aided, grand slam home run down the left field line, and now Florida's up 7-3. So after 3 innings, Waldrop, very ineffective for Florida, but he found himself on top 7-3. And Ackenhausen was not good, and then the bad misplay by Thompson at shortstop and the wind-aided grand slam. And, then the next inning, Florida tacked on another run due to another error by Thompson, and they go up 8-3. And even before that, LSU had another chance. They loaded the bases with 1 out. I guess that would have been the bottom of the third, right after Florida went ahead, and Tommy White hit into a double play. So LSU stranded 8 runners in the first 3 innings, 6 in scoring position, just like they had done in the night before, and they won Florida. But this time, they didn't have the pitching or the defense to keep them in the game. And once it got to 8-3 after 4 innings, I think Jay Johnson made the decision, okay, I'm not going to use any of my other good starters, good relievers now, unless we can get this thing close. And they never got it close, and the back end of LSU's bullpen was just pounded by Florida over those last 4 innings.
So kind of moving to today's contest, how likely are we to see Skeens make the start for the Tigers here on the mound?
Look, nothing has come out of the LSU camp yet. I think Skeens will pitch. I don't think he's going to start. Now, that being said, I'm thinking that Skeens can only give him maybe 3 innings. Now, if Skeens comes out there and in their discussions says, look, I think I can give you 5 or 6, well, then I think that Skeens would start. But if it would look like his limit's about 3, then I think they use Skeens out of the bullpen at the most important time of the game. So my guess is that Skeens does not start, but is used at some point in the game.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you on that one, especially with the 120 pitches that he had just a few days ago. I mean, it was a nice, strong performance by him, and moving forward, you want to see your best pitcher come back. But, I mean, you can't really just think that, hey, we're going to use him to start off the game. I mean, right off the bat. I mean, the guy's got a little bit of rest to be done. And, I mean, if he can throw 3 innings, I mean, that'd be better than nothing. So it'd be good to at least see him in there. But, I mean, real quick, before we even move on from, like, last night's game, I mean, Ackenhausen, he comes in. This was his second start of the entire season, correct? And it was all just from the College World Series?
That's right. He was used out of the bullpen early in the year, and about 3 weeks into the season, suffered a hamstring injury, and he was on the shelf for about another 3 weeks. And when he did return, he was used strictly out of the bullpen. Now, he has starters experience. He's a junior college transfer from East Oklahoma, and he was East Oklahoma's number 1 starter last season, and that team reached the regional tournament in junior college play. So he's got starters experience. He just wasn't used as a starter this year for LSU. Okay. And like I said, 6 shutout innings against Tennessee, and he just wasn't anywhere near as effective yesterday against Florida.
Yeah. He kind of gained a fan, though, that day against Tennessee, because I saw this kid pitch, and I was like, wow. It's like, who is this guy? This man's doing he's throwing some heat. He's doing some things, but kind of looking on to this whole situation that's going down with LSU. I mean, they're no stranger to being in this position, being in the College World Series finale, and like kind of looking at this, the only strangers are the players as well as Jay Johnson. And I mean, what makes you think that the team really has what it takes to take home the win tonight?
Well, look, these two teams are very close. Oh, yeah. I mean, they would have now played 70 games this year. I think they've both played 70, and Florida's overall record is 1 game better than LSU. So when in the conference schedule, Florida went 20-10. LSU went 19-10 because LSU had a game canceled due to weather at South Carolina. They're both 10-2 in the NCAA tournament. They both came out of the losers bracket once to advance. Florida in the regional against Texas Tech, LSU in the CWS bracket against Wake Forest. So they both have, I want to say, of the regulars that play, both teams have 6 guys that have hit double-figure home runs. So they're very similar. Certainly LSU has Skeens, which Florida does not have. Florida's got 3 starters who, on their best days, are very good, but they've been very inconsistent. I think you saw Brandon Sproat and then Waltrip both being very ineffective. And now they'll have Caglione to go tonight. Look, he's been good sometimes, he's been bad sometimes. So that's been the book on the 3 Florida starters. So if he is not good tonight, then LSU's going to score some runs, and I think you would say maybe LSU's got a chance to win the game. Now, again, you don't know. Let's say Skeens is used out of the bullpen, then I imagine Thatcher Hurd will make the start, who has probably thrown his best ball during the NCAA tournament. He's a transfer from UCLA. He was expected to be in the starting rotation for LSU this year, but did not throw well early in the year, and ended up going into the bullpen. And as the season has progressed, I'm going to say from May the 1st on, so for the last couple months, he has thrown his best ball. And, we'll see how he, I'm assuming he would get the start tonight and see how well he does.
Brian Lazar from TigerBait.com. Brian, I read your article. It's just one loss on TigerBait.com, and I wanted to ask you about the situation that does happen. It hasn't been very good for the LSU Tigers in one-run ball games, or just seems to be like less than 4 runs types ball games, where you're looking at a team where you had a guy in the first game, Ty Floyd, throw 17 strikeouts, and just speak on that too, but 17 strikeouts over 8 innings, and it just seems like you're going to need that tonight if it is a low-scoring game like that out of the bullpen, or if this is a bullpen game for LSU.
Yeah, look, LSU's not built to win low-scoring games. That's not. They're more of an offensive team, and but the way the field is in Omaha, a big park, and until yesterday, the wind was basically blowing in, changed the game. And give credit to LSU's pitchers. They have taken advantage of the wind conditions in the big park, and most importantly, have thrown strikes and haven't walked hitters. And that's how they were, basically how they were able to take 2 or 3 from Wake Forest to advance to the finals, and, a couple of wins over Tennessee. So they give them credit. They have adjusted to playing a different style of ball. They haven't, torn the cover off the ball at all. They're, the 2 games against Florida, their, timely hitting number has not been good. They've left 30 runners on base in the 2 games against Florida, and many in scoring position. So, look, it all comes down to one game. First off, if one starting pitcher is much better than the other, that team certainly has the best chance to win the game. If the 2 starting pitchers are similar, then it's going to come down to bullpen, comes down to clutch hitting. Mm-hmm. And, it's, everybody talks about, Florida won by 20 runs. Baseball is not like football, even basketball, where momentum doesn't really come to play, because momentum can change simply by whoever you put out on the mound to start the game. Mm-hmm. And if you put a guy out there is on and has great stuff, well, that team is the favorite. So when you look at let's just say Hurd starts for LSU, and the starters tonight are Caglione and Hurd, it's probably be a pretty even game. Maybe slight edge to Caglione, maybe. But, and again, LSU's got that big figure of Paul Skeens in the background where, I'm anticipating you will see him at some point in the game tonight.
And looking at this matchup, LSU's no stranger to having to play games back to back to back to back. We looked at them play 4 games in a row against Wake Forest, against Tennessee, against Wake Forest again, and then against Wake Forest a third time. And, what really came into account with this consistency in the bullpen and also just with the players? Is that something we could see finally come out again against Florida tonight? Maybe the team was kind of resting on that day just to come out and really just give it their all today?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's just another baseball game. Let's see if somebody can get the clutch hits, see if the pitchers can throw the ball well. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming, when you talk about LSU, the Hurd, Riley Cooper, Paul Skeens. In a best case scenario, those 3 guys would handle 9 innings tonight for LSU. Now, Cooper was, according to reports, was ill yesterday and had some type of a stomach flu. So nobody knows what his status is tonight. Again, I'm sure he would certainly give it a try. But I think that's the 3 guys. You're talking about Hurd, Cooper, and Skeens for LSU, and Florida has Caglione. And then their top three relievers, none of them threw yesterday. Two of them threw on Saturday, but none of them threw yesterday, so they got their three relievers ready. So I think it's, pretty even game. I'll say this, if LSU is tied or run ahead when Skeens gets into the game, if it's late, then LSU certainly is the favorite to win a national championship. And LSU, they have, and again, none of these players, not Jay Johnson, but LSU has been in this situation 6 times previously. One game, winner take all for the national championship, and LSU is 6-0. 5 times with Skip Bertman, once with Paul Maneri. The last time being in 2009. LSU and Texas met in the finals. LSU won the first game, Texas won the second game, so one game, winner take all, and LSU won that game to win the national championship, and that was LSU's last national title some 14 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this LSU team's just decorative trophy case, I mean, with the 6 national championships, with the 7th appearance back in 2017, and now with their 8th appearance altogether, I mean, just how big is baseball in Baton Rouge to where this team just consistently is making it back to the end all?
Well, it's been a little bit of a drought for LSU. LSU has not been to the CWS in 6 years. In fact, the seniors on last year's team was eliminated in the regionals at USM. There were, I believe, 3 4-year seniors on last year's team, and those were the first players since somebody who came to LSU to play baseball in 1983 who failed to at least make one appearance in the College World Series. LSU had never gone 4 straight years without making a CWS appearance until last year. LSU went in 2017, and that's where they lost to Florida in the finals. In 2018, they were eliminated by Oregon State in the regionals. In 2019, they were eliminated at home by Florida State in the super regionals. No tournament in 21, they were eliminated in the super regionals at Tennessee, and last year they were eliminated in the regionals at Southern Miss. So that was the first time since before Skip Bertman came to LSU in the mid-'80s that LSU had gone 4 straight years, or 4 straight tournaments, 4 straight CWS tournaments without making an appearance. So, the fans are used, that's the success, that's what the fans are used to. They haven't won a national championship in 14 years. And really, if you look at it, it's really prior to 2009, the last national championship was 2000. So in this century, LSU has only won 2 national titles, one in 2000 and one in 2009. So, certainly Skip Bertman spoiled LSU with his 5 national titles in a span of 10 years. But it's a different ball game. College baseball has grown so much. The new format with this, when they began with the 4-team regionals and the super regionals back in 1999, a lot more difficult to win a national championship. And as Skip Bertman will say, when he was winning national titles, there were not as many teams putting as much emphasis on college baseball as it is today.
I think what's going to be good that no matter what happens at the end of the day today, that LSU will forever be synonymous with the College World Series just with how they eclipsed the College World Series Jello Shot Challenge. Like, the fan base, I mean, not only eclipsing the record, but I mean, just coming out about, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, another purchase was made by Gordon McKernan, 8,888 Jello shots for LSU, bringing the total up to above 50,000. Just kind of speak on this as a fan base and just how coming together and buying all these Jello shots and supporting a fantastic cause. Yeah.
I'm hearing that, the stadium. Now, again, I'm sure there's a lot of local people that are pulling for LSU, But I'm hearing that, we're talking about 25,000 people there. I'm hearing that it's like 20,000 LSU people.
Whew.
So
it's a lot of
vacation spot.
Again, not all people from Baton Rouge are from Louisiana, but because they say a lot of the locals there, they adopt LSU as their team. So it's. I heard one of the Florida players say yesterday, it's like, we're on the road with 20,000 people cheering against us. So it must be obvious to the Florida players that far more Tiger fans and Gator fans in Omaha.
Yeah, I got my grandmother and my grandfather actually from Slidell, and so they're 100% Cajun, and they'd be at the game if they tried. They would be at the game if they could, and for sure. And kind of switching gears a little bit before we get you out of here, I wanted to ask you just a question or two, maybe on football. The permanent schedule for 2020, or the permanent rivals for after 2024, and the 9-game schedule for Alabama or for LSU has been out, and it's Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. What are your thoughts on those permanent opponents for LSU? As Nick Saban was kind of irked a little bit that LSU was one of those permanent opponents, and just basically your outlook for the 2023 and 2024 season.
Well, look, I can understand what Saban's why he was upset. Alabama was the only team. I talk about there's haves and have-nots in the SEC, and I'm talking about from a financial standpoint. And before, with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league, I'm going to say there are 9 halves now. 9 haves, 7 have-nots, and I'm talking about from a financial status. You have Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. That's 3. You have LSU. That's 4. Alabama and Auburn. That's 6. And then Tennessee, Florida, and Georgia. So there's your 9 teams that have all the financial resources to compete. Alabama was the only team to play 3 of those. All 3 of their permanent opponents were one of those halves. Now, I know this. I've had some conversations with people in the SEC office. They didn't look at they sort of looked at it as haves and have-nots, but they looked at it strictly from the metric of what has happened on the playing field in the last 10 years. And because of what happened in the playing field the last 10 years, Tennessee's not in that group. Tennessee. Well, that's
yeah.
And that's the reason. So I've had people say, well, then Alabama's not playing 3 halves because Tennessee is not really in that upper echelon, which, okay, that's right. Until the last couple of years, Tennessee really has been in a little bit of a down cycle for the most part. But from a financial standpoint, Tennessee is one of the halves in the SEC. So I can understand. I see where Saban's coming from. I see where the SEC office is coming from. They weren't looking at it from a financial standpoint. They were looking at it just what happened on the field. So, again, I see both sides. LSU, it's the 3 permanents. Certainly, that's you would expect them to be. Alabama's big rivalry now, and then A&M. They've played them even before the Aggies joined the SEC, and of course Ole Miss. So. And again, LSU would be playing 2 halves and the 1 half not Ole Miss. So I think that's, if they, and I really believe at some point they're going to go to the 9-game schedule.
Yeah.
And I think those 3 teams make the most sense for LSU, just like Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU make the most sense for Alabama. But so that's my thoughts on the schedule. Upcoming season, here's the big thing. No doubt LSU and Alabama will be the 2 best teams in the West. LSU certainly has the edge at quarterback, which I don't think you've been able to say that too many times. I don't know if even when LSU won the national championship in 2019, the quarterback, LSU didn't have a gigantic quarterback edge. You had Joe Burrow for LSU and Tua for Alabama, so it wasn't like it was a gigantic edge for LSU. But I think it's LSU's got to, whoever's going to be the Alabama starter, you'd have to say Jade Daniels is certainly better right now. And now the rest of the remaining part of the team, Alabama may be a little bit better on the offensive line. Alabama probably better defensively, particularly in the secondary. That's LSU's biggest question mark is the secondary, and Alabama should be pretty strong in the secondary. The game is the LSU-Alabama game will be in Tuscaloosa. But really, the road teams has won games in this series. That's not an issue. LSU has won games in Tuscaloosa, and obviously Alabama's won games in Baton Rouge, so that's not a big issue. I think it's going to be very close. Looking at it, Alabama a little better defensively. LSU edgy quarterback. When the two teams meet, they are playing in Tuscaloosa. LSU, the rest of LSU's conference schedule is pretty favorable. And you look at it on paper, you say, okay, who can LSU? Well, their games LSU could lose, but the only one you could say, they could really have trouble is the season opener in Orlando against Florida State. So a good schedule for LSU, and we'll probably be back to. It's fitting that in the last year of divisional play, the SEC West representative in the championship game will probably come down to LSU and Alabama on that first November Saturday.
Are you going to be, if you can't, obviously I don't think it's going to happen, but are you going to be irked a little bit by not having the Golden Boot matchup?
LSU and Arkansas every year? No, that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. Look, I think it's a good rivalry.
Yeah.
But is LSU A&M more of a rivalry than LSU Arkansas? I think so. The LSU A&M, there's some bad blood both ways. The LSU Arkansas, I think it's a bigger game for Arkansas than it is for LSU.
Yeah, it seems like that's a lot of teams are kind of like that when it comes to this scheduling.
Yeah, it's like Ole Miss. I mean, the LSU Ole Miss game, the LSU game is a bigger game for Ole Miss than it is for LSU. But still, you have so much tradition, and the LSU Ole Miss is a game that game needed to be kept playing.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you on again. I'll try to get on with Thom as well, as he's out of the box today. But I'll try to get you in the Rolodex and try to get you on maybe during the football season and some other LSU talk for sure. But tell everybody where they can find your coverage.
www.tigerbait.com. Go to the site. All the latest in LSU sports there. Join the site. And then you can follow me on Twitter at BLDore, at BLDORE.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and have a good rest of your afternoon.
Okay, you too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Let's enjoy some baseball tonight.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped for some college baseball. I mean, I feel like this is like really the the only time when it comes like when they talk about like throughout the series and everything like that, unless you're not a baseball nut, like you're not going to watch the lead up games unless you're watching Alabama because you're an Alabama fan or Auburn around here. But yeah, you're not going to watch up the lead up, but you're definitely going to watch the final game, or you're going to watch like maybe one of the series of the College World Series, because you never know, it could have ended yesterday.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I mean, do you guys think, real quick before we hop out of here, do you guys think that college baseball is as big right now as it's ever been in the past? I mean,
I would say yes, because before it's kind of like soccer on ESPN. Like, no one really watched that sport until they start. I mean, they still don't, because if Thom was here, they'd be like, they still don't. But they still don't technically watch it. But there are more viewerships because you put it out there.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't watching English Premier games until like they started putting a lot more games on local television or ESPN or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like that with college baseball. Like, college softball is on all the time. So if you got ESPN, if you got whatever, 31, if you got, ABC, CBS, whatever, you're going to be able to get those games and you're going to be able to watch them, and they're going to put them on television. These baseball games are always on ESPN. So if you don't have ESPN, I think a lot of times you miss out on that, but the coverage is more is there more, and I think the evolution of the sport. Obviously, the SEC winning all the time probably isn't going to help, but
that's for us.
right? Because I mean, literally, it's going to be 3 years straight. Yeah. So we're going to look at it where the SEC is about to win 3 straight in a row, title games, and it's like. Are people outside of the South watching the game? Because I guarantee you, obviously, the Southeast is watching this game, and probably the Southwest as well. So, I mean, there's going to be that.
Yeah, I think a lot of sports, and I don't know if this is just because I've entered into this, this sports realm nowadays in my life, but I feel like a lot of these sports, even WNBA, I mean, even a whole bunch of leagues, like even the USFL and stuff like that, I feel like they're gaining more traction to where they're more, they're seen by more people, and we can have more fan bases just all around with all different sports.
Like I guarantee you, when the 2 girls, like the one from Angel Reese and the one from Iowa, something Clark, was that it?
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, when those two girls get drafted into the WNBA, they will finally have like a marketable name. To put in the WNBA, and that's going to get them more traction.
Yeah, I just hope it gets to the point where it's not like the MLB where they actually represent their stars and trying to bring people in by showing off their best stars. Because the MLB terrible with all that stuff. They're horrible with it.
Yeah, it's not like how it used to be a little bit when I was a kid where, I mean, I still have a Derek Jeter Got Milk poster.
That's the
you know
thing,
what I mean?
though.
It was like, and that was in school all the time. Like, you could buy it at the little book fair thing. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though. It's with this MLB advertising nowadays. It's funny because we still see Derek Jeter in these ads. We still see Big Papi. We still see all the stars of the past.
Because the people that are
showing up.
Because the people that are watching it are my age or older, and it's 30 or older, and it's literally like some of you guys like your age, like you're not watching baseball because baseball's not your primary sport. It might be basketball. It might be football. It might be something else.
Slam ball.
You know? I mean,
Slam ball.
I was watching Big 3 yesterday, okay? Ryan Hollins, former ESPN analyst, was out there balling out. He had Corey Brewer, a former NBA player. Gerald Green was out there. And then I just saw the dumbest thing from NBA India yesterday, which was who would win in a one-on-one. Michael Jordan or Gerald Green. I don't understand the whole or Gerald Green because apparently that's like a meme now. Or Gerald Green. So literally it was NBA India and it was like NBA India's wild. And it was like who would win in a one-on-one, Michael Jordan or Gerald Green? It would be Michael Jordan with asleep.
Who the hell is Gerald Green?
Are we talking about...
He used to play for the Rockets, a bunch of other teams.
Are we talking about Bulls Michael Jordan? Are we talking about Wizards Michael Jordan?
Oh, I mean, Wizards Michael Jordan could beat him by 30 if he was playing against him. I mean, my goodness, he wouldn't be able to defend him.
Are we talking about North Carolina Michael Jordan?
North Carolina Jordan was like, he still was, like, I get it. We were talking about maybe, like his sophomore season, right? Like when he was benched, right? Yeah. He probably still could kill him by 15, all right? So anyway, we're kind of going over on time because we got into some basketball talk. That always happens on the Thom Abraham.
Always happens.
Basketball, soccer, whatever. We just go off the rails on the Thom Abraham
Video
show.
games sometimes, who cares?
That's okay. Tom's not here. We're taking over. I appreciate you guys being here as always. And like I said, Brian Lazar was with us from TigerBait.com. We're going to go to the break, and we'll be back on the other side. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're probably just going to... Slam ball. Slam ball is next.
Back, baby.
On the other side on the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sign up for the VSiN Daily Newsletter to keep you up with the day's biggest sports betting news and insights. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Florida Gators pound LSU 24-4, setting a College World Series record with 24 runs, enforcing a Game 3 of the best-of-3 championship series today in Omaha, Nebraska. LSU opens as a $1.40 favorite, Florida plus 110, 9 flat the total, 54% of the money on Florida to win the game and the national title today. Track where all the money is flowing for every game on the board. Betting splits available at VSIN.com. Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves today. A minus 205 favorite at home at Minnesota, plus 175, 8.5 under the total. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, Eagle can insulate your home and help you save money with fiberglass, spray foam, and cellulose insulation, and can help you decide what's best for your project. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
T-minus 3, 2, 1,
Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
Your Trash Pandas return to the Rocket City on Independence Day, Tuesday, July 4th for another 6-game homestand at Toyota Field. Promotions include a 4th of July celebration with fireworks on Tuesday, a Zach Neto bobblehead giveaway on Wednesday, and a Kids Trash Pandas socks giveaway on Sunday. Reserve your seats now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at BobWallaceAppliance.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a nice Monday across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight. Plenty of sunshine once again for your Tuesday. Temperatures again climbing into the lower 90s, mid-60s through the overnight. A mostly sunny sky on Wednesday, highs climbing again into the lower 90s. Things begin to change a little bit as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It is going to be incredibly hot. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
Welcome to Bassmaster Radio.
I've heard this way too many times.
Back to the Thom Abraham Show.
Too many times. Too many times have I heard that. Editing for him, and then he told me to stop editing, and now, I don't know. I guess he still does it. Either way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. John Abraham, Cam Cool, alongside the Bandyman Bailey Larry.
Hey, we talking about slam ball?
Alongside the Chad Gwathney,
Not
a.k.a.
yet.
the Grizz. Yeah, no,
Not yet.
We're all
Calm down.
We're so angsty to get back into slam ball, dude. Well, I mean, it's been a fun show so far, I will say. We've had multiple guests on to talk a little bit about the College World Series, of course. It's been a lot of fun getting both sides, trying to see, who's got the energy going into day 3 of this World Series. I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but I feel like Jacob Rudner was a little bit more hyped because of what happened last night. Of course you would be. 24 points in the College World Series, that is well over the run record that was, I think, placed back in 1998. I think it was 21 to let me figure out the exact score. Yeah. Okay, so it was 21-14. It was Southern California against Arizona State back in 1998, and that was the closest it's ever gotten, all right? 24-4. The runs just kept coming in, and I can understand. I can understand why Jacob was a little excited. Jacob from Swamp 24/7 Sports, and then Brian Lazar came on. Obviously, we had a great conversation with him. He's from TigerBait.com, and I mean, you really just know. There's things from both sides where you're thinking moving forward. both of these teams have what it takes to go the distance, win the games, but it really just starts out with that starting pitcher you throw in there. I mean, even for LSU, for who they had in to start off the game last night, it was a pitcher that is inexperienced when it comes to coming into these games throughout all of the season. I mean, they're throwing in what's his name? Hausen. I gotta get his name real quick too. Ackenhausen. Yeah, they throw in Ackenhausen again. His second start all year long. They had a lot of hope in what he did in the Tennessee matchup, and I can understand that. But you throw him in, starting the second game, you can kind of tell there's a different rhetoric around this team in the second game. And after that third the third inning, you do kind of see that this LSU team's kind of just, easing off of the gas a little bit. There are a lot of mental mistakes throughout this entire game. And all the way it goes. I mean, that's the whole reason this game was as lopsided as it was. There's a lot of these mental mistakes. I mean, when a team gets up so much on another squad, especially in college baseball, it gets to a lot of these guys. They're already thinking about the next game, how we can do a little bit better, how we can push a little bit better, how we can hit more home runs as these guys. But in that game, it really came down to LSU was already out of it going into that fourth inning. It just did not look good, but still, I mean, we see the energy from the Florida side right now, and they're going to have that going into Game 3. And you'd like to think that LSU might, have a little bit to say about that energy going in, especially with the thousands and thousands of fans, because if you guys are watching this College World Series, it does seem like an MLB game at LSU. It is for LSU. They have the fan base there. You can see it in the Jello shots. How many do you say they have over now?
Okay, well, speaking of that, 10 minutes ago, we got a new update.
Okay.
Which they said another update's coming at 5. It's going to be the final one. But right now, LSU, as of 10 minutes ago, 57,387 Jello shots.
Okay. Bandy, have you had a Jello shot in your life?
Of course.
Okay. How many do you think you could have in a row? All right.
In a row?
In a row, just like nonstop, like backing them. Okay, go.
I mean, depends. What's it filled with?
I don't know. What are these Jello shots filled with? You just
probably vodka.
Yeah, probably just a little bit of vodka in them.
I think it's the only thing that actually you can really make an effective one out of.
I have no clue. Okay, I'm a tequila
maybe
guy.
rum.
I'm a tequila guy.
I've had one with rum in it. It's good.
Yeah.
Coconut rum.
I just don't. 57,000. You know that a lot of these are going to waste. You got it.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say it's. I definitely would say it's not in double digits.
Well, I mean, those LSU fans. I mean, they're gonna need to have.
Yeah, Jello shots. That's one thing about Jello shots, especially if you're outside and it's hot, you're like swimming or whatever. Yeah, 30.
That's what I'm saying.
Easy 30, because you're just eating Jello.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like those.
They're small.
Those rum balls. You ever had rum balls before? The chocolate rum ball.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Easy to consume.
You get somebody that makes one that's just like you bite into it and it's just alcohol. Yeah, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I mean, over so many batches or whatever, I don't do science. I don't know math. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alcohol, yeah.
There's less alcohol in each little shot too, probably.
You're sweating it all out in Omaha.
Yeah. They need to get some the ice.
Oh, if I was at Omaha right now sweating it out, yeah, I'd have 10 before. Go there, be fine, then leave, then be come back and then probably get 10 more on my way out.
Okay, here's the next question.
It's right across the street, 4 steps.
What school do you think is in last place?
I don't even know this. So, okay, so out of the schools that have been there, I'm gonna guess it's one of the teams that have played there the least.
Yeah, you have Florida, TCU, Wake Forest, Virginia, Oral Roberts. Obviously not LSU.
No.
Virginia.
Stanford and Tennessee.
I'm going to think it's
it's Virginia.
I think it's either Stanford or Virginia because, I mean, those guys, they were kind of out of it in the first day.
All right, well, if you said Virginia, yeah, you're right.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Virginia, not even everybody else except for Virginia and Stanford are in the 4s.
Sheesh.
They're in the thousands.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Virginia only 866.
I don't think people were actually Oral Roberts fans. I think they were just doing that because of the name.
Oral Roberts,
you know.
Just give me a few.
Like, just a couple for Oral Roberts.
Why not?
Now, next question. Do we make a challenge for next year's, what is it called? The Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge?
Yeah.
Do we make a challenge to people? How many Jello shots can you take?
No.
In between each inning.
Between each inning. That's like a drinking game that you do like during the, but do that like for certain instances. No, you're not Jello shots, but take a sip.
Well, yeah,
we can't tell everybody out there to start drinking and stuff.
No,
Don't drink right now.
Definitely don't want to do that. But I mean, I've seen some challenges in the past where it's like a guy has a drink of beer or like an entire beer as well as like a hot dog in between like each inning, you know. And now I want to think like how many could you get in the span of a game. I mean, I might want to take up that challenge. Anybody else?
Now,
though,
if you personally want to do it,
I will say that I would personally take that. I'm not telling anybody to try this. It's very dangerous. Obviously, the consumption of alcohol, all that stuff. I always have to just throw that in there, by the way, because I guess I'm the one that throws in a lot of stuff that's either illegal or possibly very dangerous for you guys to do. So definitely don't go into that. But Chad right now is on the phone, so I guess we could sneak in some of this slam ball conversation.
Yeah. But see, I'm also thinking, what's gonna happen if LSU wins today?
LSU Lynch is gonna call in like he just a second ago and be all buck wild, and and I'm gonna hear "Go Tigers" for the next 2 weeks.
That's it. One final question.
Okay.
What number did they end up at the end of the day?
Well, okay, so at, what is it, 5 o'clock they're going to give the final update?
LSU. 5 o'clock, they end
and they're
the
at
count.
54,000?
They're at 57,387.
I would say...
Well, the game doesn't start until after it closes, so...
60-32.
60-32?
I'm gonna think they're gonna really try and push it because
I think more people will buy it during the game too, maybe.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they're gonna try and push for the dub. I know they got it, but for a very assertive dub. Because, first off, you're going to need to be feeling a little something when you're watching LSU go up against Florida. Because if you got to see this happen again where it's 24-4 or something like that, you definitely don't want to see it sober, all right? But either way, it's just one of those things that we're going to – how did we already get through this I guess it's a different type of break thing over here. So either way.
Yeah, we have to do 3.
When we come back –
really, we're only doing 2.
Yeah, well, when we come back, we're going to finish it off with some slam ball here on the Thom Abraham Show, here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, Check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Thom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to the Thom Abraham Show as we wind it down. Closing few minutes of the show. If you'd like to call in, please call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline at 256-576-4977. Or if you're like other people, call 382-0724. That's a 256 number as well, because it seems to be the norm for a lot of people, because I can see as it flashes over here that you're calling the station number and not the studio number, so I appreciate it. But yeah, you can call either number. You didn't know we had two numbers?
I had no idea.
No?
I had no clue we had two
When
numbers.
we first moved in, we had obviously the station's number, which was 256-382-0724. So that's the number that you annoy me with in the office and everything like that.
I got
There's
it.
the studio number that I hear all the time because it's right next to me, because that phone is right next to me, and it's 256-576-4977. But we do urge you to call the 256-576-4977 number. If you want to tweet us and tell us how well we did on the show and what you enjoyed about the show, you can hit us up at 977-ESPN, at BLowry2016, at CPTCool420, at Gwathney Chad. Whatever you want to talk about. We've got a last few minutes as we kind of wind down the show.
Yeah. Chad, you looking forward to some slam ball?
Yes, I'm actually, to be honest with you, yes. Because, I mean, I did enjoy that as a kid, watching it. And then, you know, even just trampolines, just playing on trampolines in general. I mean, who isn't fond of that? And a 6-week schedule or something like that.
It's a short one, yeah.
It's a short season. I mean, I don't think anybody's knees could make it like a 10-week to a 12-week schedule. That just seems physically demanding. I don't know about you. Are you kidding me? I was 33 years old running around the trampoline place.
That is true. Respect to him.
That is true respect.
I mean, I literally was jumping around, running on the little zip line and everything. I was like a kid out there.
We had a lot of
the flow was cool, man.
You kept trying to convince me to do a flip, no matter how many times I tell you I can't do one.
I can do a flip. I did a front flip, but I can do it in a pool, but I'm too afraid to do it on a trampoline because I don't want to smack my face.
Yes. Dude,
I'd rather smack my face on water than smack my face on pavement or, you know.
It's a mental block.
Now, I can do a front flip off a diving board.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily.
I'll tell you guys.
But that's nothing. That's like
no. I try. No, I can do it easily. The problem is I get too much turn, and so a lot of times I'm afraid I'm gonna hit my face when I do a 1.5 or something.
The first time I ever got to go off of like a 12-foot tall, diving board was actually in a Alabama pool, and it was in the one I believe in Madison or something like that. And I went to jump, and I was like super confident. I was like, I do front flips, back flips all the time. It's like, what's water gonna do to me? I usually do it on like hard surfaces and stuff like that. So I try and do just a quadruple front flip right off the bat. My first jump off of this 12-foot tall diving board. Instantly regret it. Obviously, I slammed the water. The wind is out of me. I don't know exactly how hard some water can be at that height, and it was extremely painful. So I stopped doing that. But now I can do all the different tricks I want, and you know what? Those sometimes do carry over to land backflips, land gainers. I can't do a gainer on land.
I've done a gainer once in a pool, and then after that, I never could get my body to rotate like that ever again.
It's tough.
You really have to, and sometimes you're just gonna go sideways. A lot of times, I did make it happen, and like the first time that when you first do it, you go straight to your back. I mean, you hit your back immediately. It's like the worst feeling in the world. But I've done that quite a few times. But I can't do it in like anything else.
Yeah.
No.
I've tried to do a backflip just in general, but I'll get to that point where you just freeze up like a quarter of the way through.
Yeah.
And it's just
you just go straight back to the water.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I know I'm not even going halfway over. I'm just about to hit the water all back.
Yeah, it's totally all about the dedication to it. The gainer I had to teach myself. I can't do one when I'm just standing. I have to do a running start.
Mm-hmm.
I do it off the 12-foot tall diving board, and it is the coolest feeling ever. Okay.
Hey, we got LSU Lynch. He's calling him back. He might be doing gainers or doing backflips or something. What's up, brother?
Hey, look here. 30 seconds. Number one, I've listened to the show. It's been a great show, guys.
Thank you.
It's been a great show. Number two, screw ABC for not showing the World Series.
Oh.
That was a great topic. Number three, go buy you baby. Yes, come on.
I wish I had. I don't have the button because they all got deleted, but I have the LSU tag as number one, baby. LSU. I gotta have all my. I gotta get all my Brian Kelly sound too. I gotta find all that too for him.
It's crazy.
Following up this year.
We think about how LSU's played all season. They've been at number one for a large majority of the year, but now they're sitting at underdogs going into Game 3 of the College World Series. A lot to look forward to tonight. A lot to look forward to in sports altogether. Me, Bandy, the Chad, we're all going to be tuning in to listen, to watch to it. It's going to be a great night for college baseball.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
Thank you guys very much for tuning in to today's episode of the Thom Abraham Show. For me, John Abraham, Captain Cool. For the Bandy Man, for Chad Gwathney. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys possibly tomorrow or at least a few other times this week. But that's all we got for today. Enjoy the game tonight, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Thom Abraham Show here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.